Hello and welcome to episode 176 of the Rollo and Slappy Show. Today is December 30th, 2019. I am Rollo McFlugel, and with me is Slappy Jones 2. And we hope you had a Merry Christmas and hope you have a good New Year coming up. And this will be the last Rollo and Slappy Show ever for this decade. Don't worry, we will continue into the 20 teens, but I can't believe this decade is over.
We're going to continue into the 20 teens?
I am. I was going to, yeah, I guess this is as good a time as any to give you the news about the new direction we're taking for the podcast. So,
yeah, we're heading back to the 20 teens.
Oh, wait, 2020, man. Yeah, we're in the 20 teens right now, aren't we?
For another day.
Yeah, so into the 2020s.
There we go.
We are not going.
We're going to have perfect eyesight.
Yeah, we do not have a time machine unless we already did that, and this is the second time around. But, yeah, so we will continue the show into the 2020s.
The show must go on.
That really shows you how, like,
Old
I can't believe how much time has gone by that I didn't even realize we're going to be into the second decade of the 20.
Soon people who were born in the year 2000 will be able to legally consume alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. It's kind of sad that the people that were born after the year 2000, after the 9/11 attacks, are legally able to fight in the war that was created in response. But that's not what we're talking about today, and don't want to get all gloomy on us. The show notes page for this episode is mcflugel.com/176. You'll be able to find maybe some of the things we talk about, as well as checking out our sponsor, libertymugs.com, where you can find awesome libertarian-themed mugs and other accessories for your everyday life. And we're going to have a kind of a neat announcement coming up on there soon. I don't know. I think you know. I don't know that you know what I'm talking about, but I think you know what's going on, Slappy. We'll talk later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's jump into what we're going to talk about tonight.
All right,
Why don't you take us there, Slappy?
Yeah, we were texting a little bit about this today, and I'm still. So I guess we're going to talk about the Federal Reserve and inflation and how it encourages certain investments. And there's a couple apps out there, a couple companies, websites, whatever, that allow people to invest easily in the stock market. And is that a good thing? So, Rollo, what direction did you want to take this?
Yeah, I wanted to first kind of comment on those things. Like, there's certain apps out there like Robinhood and Acorn, and even Cash App has rolled out the ability to buy stocks as little as a $1 worth of stocks. You don't have to buy a full share. And my first reaction was like, oh, this is pretty neat that these apps and services allow basically anyone, I guess anyone with a bank account, anyone could pass their little KYC stuff, which is basically anyone, has the ability to have access to, a lot of financial instruments that might have been behind certain like paywalls, or not paywalls, but fees associated with them, or just you got to get
minimum account balances, stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of like weird things, whereas now it's just you kind of can download an app, attach your like a debit card to it, and start buying and selling stocks. And in the case of Cash App, at really, really low fees and at really, really low amounts. And like I said, it's kind of neat that the barriers to entry have been lowered there. But then as I was thinking about it a little bit more, I was like, well, is this just a way for them to kind of take dumb money from people that don't know what they're doing, investing in stuff that they really have no business investing in. and maybe that's not such a good thing. I don't know that um, I don't know down the road, I don't know how long it's going to take, but I don't know this is going to be good for a lot of the people that this is geared towards. I think these people that are likely to now throw money in this stuff are going to aren't going to get hurt or lose money by this. And I'm not trying to say like, oh, this means that it should be illegal or anything. Obviously, anyone who's listened to this show or read any of our stuff or interacted with us at all kind of understands that we're not in favor of the government throwing up barriers and walls for access to really anything. But just because something's legal or available or not immoral does not mean it's a good idea. So it's really more of a commenting on on how this might affect people individually. Because
Have you ever bought stock on Cash App?
Yeah, I bought one stock on it.
I have not. How does that work? I'm on the app right now. Can you buy any company? Is there certain ones they offer?
I don't know. I kind of like looking around. It looked like they had a bunch of stuff. I only had one. I had a company that I wanted to buy some stock in, and that's who I bought. And I didn't look too much for other stuff.
I don't even know how to do it here. Do I have to? Well, there's like a My First Stock. We wrote a book. Do I have to click that or something?
I don't think so.
I mean, buying Bitcoin is pretty easy. You just hit buy.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing as buying Bitcoin.
No, maybe if I click on the oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, I could buy Coca-Cola if I wanted. Okay. So you don't actually own the stock, though.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Not if you can put $1 and not even buy a share.
I mean,
so it's going into a fund.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. I guess it's the same with Bitcoin, essentially, until you withdraw it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Not your keys, not your coins.
I'm browsing around the app. Sorry.
Yeah.
For my,
I'm sure the other apps are like that too. I haven't messed around with any other ones. It doesn't really matter for the sake of what we're talking about whether you own it or not. I mean, I'm sure that Cash App isn't out there to try to steal your money. I don't think Acorn is either.
No, it's not. But what I'm getting at is it's not like it's a link to the stock market where you can buy any company you want. You have to buy one that's listed on here.
Sure.
Can you search for? Maybe you can search for one.
Yeah, you can search.
Put any ticker name in there.
As far as I know.
Cool. Oh yeah, maybe. It's probably pretty much buying.
I mean, if you're not buying, if you're not buying the actual stock, I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah. Well,
because they would be using yeah. I mean, they would be using probably another institution or another branch of their company to actually access buying and selling these stocks.
Around, maybe you can buy anything. Oh, whatever. I'll do it later. Yeah. Cool.
But it goes back to, and I think we've talked about it before, how it's not, just in general, it's not great that we as average Joes like really need to have access to the stock market in order to maintain our wealth that we have. Like the idea that even just like your 401k, that's getting thrown into whatever funds that are in there. A lot of them are just like these target retirement funds that will probably, they've done what they're probably going to be fine.
It's a managed account. It's a mutual fund. Someone's behind it trying to hit a certain target.
Mm-hmm. But like when you're investing like that, you're just throwing money into just basically a black hole. I don't know, because I have a 401k. I have it invested in these funds too, but I have no idea.
Yeah, you're paying someone else to do it for you.
Right. And I have no idea if the guy I'm paying to manage my money is an idiot or or not. It's just like you're just throwing money kind of blindly into stuff, and that's not very good investing. Or good investing strategies, because if you're going to speculate on something, if you expect something to be worth more in the future than it is now, you want to have a reason for it, not just, well, the number's gone up in the past, so I figure it's going to keep going up. Maybe that you might guess and get lucky, but that's not your basis for your speculation isn't anything good. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah. I do. But
like if I'm trying to save for my if I'm trying to save for my retirement, I want to have it in something, I would like it to grow. Or just saving in general. If I want to just be able to actually accumulate wealth and save, I don't want something that's as risky as the stock market, because I could pick something bad and get wiped out.
Which is why most 401ks don't allow you to pick individual stocks. A lot of times you're investing in either an S&P type fund where it's getting what the S&P 500 is doing essentially, or some other kind of managed fund where they're hitting certain targets.
Right. So you're taking a lot of guesses and just kind of mushing them together.
Well, it's diversification. So
right, but you're diversifying and also you're ignorantly diversifying.
Yeah,
I'm just because I don't know
return on the market.
Sure.
So if it's I know what you're saying, but so what my problem is with it is you shouldn't have to.
Yes, that's the major point. We can sit here and talk about.
It's not like put it this way: if you look, we're stuck with dollars. There's no way around that. You get paid in dollars from your job, and you can sit on them. You can hold cash, but then you're losing value every year. If you put it in a diversified fund, like an S&P fund, does the S&P go down? Yeah, it goes down. It's been down 3 years straight at least one time, but maybe only one time. Is it a guarantee it'll grow? No, but if it doesn't, we have bigger problems in society. So it's not like investing in a mutual fund is incredibly risky. There is risk involved, especially if you have a short horizon or time frame that you need the money. You should move it into safer investments or money markets or bonds or whatever. Essentially, lending your money to a company with a rate of return on it, which they have risk too. There's no risk-free investment. But these funds, they are managed pretty well, generally speaking. It's not, we haven't had any huge 401k problems, except for people who leave it there and they get close to retirement and they're seeing good growth, and then we have a stock market crash and half their 401k is gone, and they blame everyone for it when they should have probably taken less risk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't mean to act like these people. I'm not trying to say that the people managing this stuff is idiots. I'm just saying that I don't know what the heck I'm putting my money into, and I think that the vast majority of people in this market are doing the same thing. And I don't think that's a very good idea. But
you can get a prospectus and see what it's in and see what they're doing.
Sure. But even that, it's like, if I read a perspective on something, even if I sit down and read every single word and I can read it twice, I don't know that that's really going to help me have a good understanding of. I can know what the past performance was, but it doesn't give me information on why I think that it's going to do what I want it to do in the future, or give me any sort of understanding of why I would want to buy that, why I think it's going to appreciate in value. It might, it would have information there. in it, but it's not enough. I don't think a perspective would be enough. Like to really like the reason I bought the stock that I did in Cash App is because I think it's a market that I understand, and I think it's something that I like what they're doing. I think that they're leveraging asymmetric information in their market, and and I like what they're doing. So I think the company's going to be valued a lot more at some point in the future than it is now. That's the only reason that I bought that stock. Was because I felt confident. I could be wrong, and that's part of the risk that you're taking. But I feel comfortable with.
Right. So you understand diversification though in the market.
Yes, if I found it would be useful for me to find other things. But the diversification, I don't agree with diversification for the sake of diversification. Like I wouldn't just start throwing money at other stuff just for the sake of to diversify.
I mean,
without having
would just be random,
right?
But yeah, I mean,
and at the same time, I didn't really put that much money into this. It's more for fun what I'm doing.
Right. But the return in the S&P historically, which is a long time, there's going to be short term. I mean diversification in stocks in the market and getting kind of a market return is about as safe an investment as you can get.
Sure.
You're not going to get wealthy. You're not going to, quadruple your money, but I mean, maybe depending on how much time, whatever. But that's about as safe as you can get is investing in most of the market. You're basically earning your inflation. You're keeping your value.
Right. Until it takes a huge dump.
Yes, but then you buy. That's just like what everyone. I mean, that's there's going to be these market corrections. There's going to be recessions. There is, and you are sitting on, like if you're 60 and you're trying to retire in 5 years and you have all your money in the S&P, that's not a smart idea.
Mm-hmm.
You should move it into safer things. But if you're in your 20s, 30s, and you're putting money away in a 401k and it's down 50% in a year, if you continue to buy and don't sell, don't move into cash, you just keep what you have and continue buying, historically you're going to do really well. And if you don't do really well, I think there's bigger problems in society than your retirement. So I don't want to completely trash diversification and investing in a mutual fund. Now, if you're going to go pick individual stocks, that is risky business there.
Mm-hmm.
So you have some inside information on something, or you like a certain company and you want to go for it. That's great. You're bearing way more risk than someone investing in the S&P.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to poo-poo someone that's, if you have information that, like you said, that insider information, and that's not a dirty word. Insider information is what you should be using to invest, because otherwise, how are you going to beat everybody else? When you're buying something, you're buying something that someone's selling. So, if you're trying not to beat the market, then why are you even in there? And I don't want to get into a debate necessarily about whether or not it's good to invest in mutual funds. But the idea, well, the main point is that I don't my thing is that yes, historically it has done well over time. I'm young. It is likely that if I keep my money where it is over time, it's going to grow at some steady rate overall. It might take a dump a little bit, but there's that chance that it might take a big dump and never get back. I mean, we can't assume that the dollar is going to be here forever. We can't assume that the United States is going to have its hegemony, that these markets are going to always kind of exist
Yeah.
the way they
No,
are.
that's
So
what
there's
I
that kind
totally
of
agree.
there's that risk there that I mean it's been like the way it has been for a long time, longer than even a lot of currencies have existed in the
Mhm.
past. So and we know now that we can start folding into the more talk about the Federal Reserve and inflation, we know that we're kind of on tenuous kind of ground with what all this stuff is built on. And a lot of it's, as long as the United States maintains its hegemony with the U.S. dollar, that's what allows it to continue, these markets to stay afloat. Is that
Yeah. Yeah,
okay?
no, that's I mean, no, totally agree. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, for better or worse, we have the dollar. We have this. Like, you're kind of stuck. You can put it in other things, like Bitcoin, for example. But the fact we have this system, you're forced to invest in things.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to lose your money. You're going to lose your value. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you'll still have a dollar. So it's not going to be worth what it was when you earned it. So it kind of forces you to put your money in these investments uh, because of inflation.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I
The
was.
problem I have. I mean, given that we have this system and that you have to invest, I certainly don't want to discourage people from investing in mutual funds, because that's about the safest thing. Well, I mean, you can do money markets and you can do bonds, you can do munis. I mean, you're investing in the government, right? But they're going to give you a return. It might not be worth inflation, but they're going to give you a return. And the market, the S&P, generally speaking, I mean, no one has a crystal ball, but you're going to probably keep up with inflation. So
Yeah,
it
I'm
will
not trying.
correct. Yeah, no, and I. So it's just from a different perspective, I
Yeah.
guess. And it's given the fact that we have the system and we have dollars, what are you going to do with it? You're kind of your hand is forced.
Yeah, I'm not trying to blame or act like the individual trying to keep the value of their wealth is stupid or an idiot for doing this. It's like you said,
Yeah.
it's kind of it's the hand that we're dealt with. It's because very powerful people have control over the
Yeah,
money
and
system.
we could talk about where I'm pretty sure we agree, which it would be better if we didn't have this system and we weren't forced to invest in companies we don't know a whole lot about, and essentially forced to pay someone to invest our money and hope that they're doing a good job of diversification and getting a big part of that market so that there is a return. Because that is where I think the problem is, and maybe you agree.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So let's talk about that a little bit. And really what it is just, if you invest in tractors, then you're going to be set.
Because no farms, no food.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is financial advice by
Yes.
tractors,
Yeah.
obviously. So, yeah, this is always this kind of the step you got to take back when you talk about the stock market and how every Tom, Dick, and Harry is investing in it when they don't necessarily know what's going on. And it's like, well, why are they doing that? Why would someone take on this,
Yeah.
or even
Why would someone take a good portion of their wealth and put it into, and really, I mean, you're paying someone who does it for a living, but how good are they? And then
I mean, it's your wealth. You really should
exactly
want to have a whole lot of control
over
over,
what you
and if
get.
you're going to delegate that control to someone else, and you really want to make sure that they're doing a good job. It's like if
And
you had a
nice? Wouldn't it be nice? Sorry to cut you off, but wouldn't it
no,
be
go ahead.
nice if you got your paycheck and you could just take a portion of it and put it in your safe and be like, I'm putting that aside for the future, and it would be worth something in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of having to pay someone to do it. If you lend your money to a bank, which is what you're doing, you're hoping that you get the return on that to keep up
Right.
with inflation, which savings account rates aren't keeping up with inflation. So you're losing money by putting it in a bank. You have to do something to keep up with this inflation.
Mm-hmm.
which
And
is
so that,
back to the other point. But
yeah, and that's what puts people into these markets. They're using financial instruments that they really have no idea
right.
what's
And
going
you're
on with it.
told it's going to give you a return, and then some guy like Bernie Madoff says, "Look at the return I'm getting," and you go, "Well, wow, let's do that."
Or I know we kind of talk about this a lot, but remember that story of the guys that were churning annuities for like little old ladies?
Yeah.
It opens up people for a lot of uh, threat surfaces for fraud, because again, people realize they have this understanding that if I just hold dollars in a bank account, I'm going to lose the value of my wealth. So I need to invest it in something else, into these markets, to get a return that I can grow or at least maintain my wealth. So I don't know how much of the story you remember.
Yeah,
If you want probably more than me.
Guy was churning annuities. Essentially, you get a first-year commission when you sell an annuity, and there's surrender charges involved in annuities. So someone, let's say a lady, I forget the specific details, but let's say the lady had $1 million. She buys an annuities, guaranteed return for X number of years. Well, let's say it's 10-year annuity, and there's a 5-year surrender charge on it. He gets paid in year one. He gets a percentage on that $1 million. Sometimes there's bonuses in the annuities. There's all kinds of things going on there. But then year two comes around. So an annuity is a financial instrument designed to hold it for the life of the annuity. But I guess he would come back, and I don't remember what his selling point was, or even if it even talked about that in the article, but he would come back and sell them another annuity the next year and say, you move your money out of this and put it into this one. It's getting a better return. And so he would, and that would cost the woman surrender charges, which maybe she didn't really understand or he didn't explain. And she's trusting this guy with her money, and so he's getting a commission every year churning these annuities.
Yeah. And so you might say, well, you got to do your homework better and understand what you're doing. Yeah, it may be true,
Yeah,
but
sure, but
it's if that little old lady could just shove her money under her mattress, then she wouldn't have to worry about this.
Right.
And the reason that she can't shove her money under her mattress is because the Federal Reserve and the government are constantly adding new money to the system and decreasing the purchasing power of each and every dollar that's out there. So it creates these really bad incentives across the economy that create for, I'm not trying to be condescending or anything, but it's dumb money that it creates. And this is an example. Those little old ladies, they're not stupid, but they represent dumb money because they're investing in something that they really don't understand. Really, I have a hard time blaming them, because what else are they going to do?
You got to trust someone.
Right. And so, yeah, like it just creates all these really, really bad incentives out there. That you're buying all these instruments and assets that you really don't understand, just because you can look at a quick report and say, oh, hey, over the last 20 years it returned, I don't know, 8%.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm going to throw my money in that.
Sure, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Whereas if you had a system where you had a sound money that was maintaining its value, or even better, appreciating in value, then in order for people to convince you to give up, not give up, but invest that money somewhere else, that they would have to promise an even better return. Really have to make a lot of good promises. A bank would have to really compete and offer something good for you to park your money there.
Right.
Instead of just like a money warehouse. Or even the warehouses would still have to compete. If banks just acted like money warehouses, as opposed to how it's a little bit different now, but it would be a much different market. There'd be different selling points for stuff, different mindsets. It wouldn't just be like, oh yeah, you got to be in the stock market. Well, why? I don't understand why I'm putting my money in. Right. I mean, a bank as a money warehouse should be simple enough to understand. It's you're going to entrust your money with them because they're better at securing it than you are.
Yeah.
And that's
They're going to maybe loan it out if you give them permission to or whatever. And
yeah, if you lock it up in a certificate of deposit, you can say, hey, I'm giving you, I agree, I'm not going to touch this money for the time period that we agree with.
Yep.
And so you can lend it out, but part of you lending it out means I'm going to get a cut of that return.
Right.
But I'm also going to take the risk that, maybe you make a bad investment and I lose the money.
Right.
But now we have this whole thing where just it's all turned on its head. And everything's all kind of crazy like that. So we have these, like, I think it would be a good thing if buying stocks was very easy. I think in a free market it would be different, that you wouldn't need. I think that we wouldn't have like this recent thing with Cash App and Acorn and Robinhood. I think it would have just been status quo, that basically anyone that wanted to could get involved in stocks, buying stocks like that. But no one would really have much incentive to do it because they wouldn't need to be chasing buying these speculative investments just to maintain the value of their wealth.
Yeah, I think it would look certainly not for that. Absolutely. I totally agree. I probably would not be invested in the stock market if I didn't have to be, but as for a way, I'm sure that companies would come up with ways to raise capital by selling equity in their company, which is, an IPO. And then if people wanted to sell their share of that company, they'd be able to do it. So I'm sure like a stock market type thing would exist. And there would probably be some pretty clever investments and different guys putting together portfolios of different types of startups or tech companies or whatever. And you could invest in it if you wanted to, but you would not be forced to, which we are forced to essentially today. You're not forced to, but you're going to lose all your value if you don't.
Yeah, I think that the people who would be better equipped to invest in stuff like that, people who have that kind of specialized knowledge, that inside information, would be more just. It would be a more natural place for them to land.
Yeah, and there would be probably like investment clubs and like
Sure.
we do have today with venture capitalism and angel investors and people who want to lend their money or buy companies. It just wouldn't be every single guy out there needs to be in the stock market.
Yeah, I think an example I've heard that was used that probably wouldn't be traded on a stock market or anything. But if you were a car mechanic and owned your own garage for your entire career, I mean, you've got a lot of asymmetric knowledge compared to the rest of the market and the rest of the world about how cars work, how they get repaired, and what a good repair shop looks like. So if you have a little bit of money set aside and you want to grow it, and you see that there's this up and coming, or someone wants to start this garage, and you kind of know them pretty well, you look at their business model, and you might say, hey, I think that this guy knows what he's doing, and I think he's got a good plan. He just needs some startup money. Yeah, I'll throw him some money as an investment, and he's going to promise me some return on it, or I'm going to own a stake part of his company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the way it would work, more like that, as opposed to a guy who has owns a garage and he wants to retire, so he's been putting money away and putting it into stocks that involve and investments that involve things that he has absolutely no concept of how they operate and what makes a good investment or not. So how do we fix? I mean, this is a problem. It's a mess. What do we do? Are we just doomed for this forever, or is there something that could?
Depends. Yeah. No, I mean, I think there is a solution, and I think we will be okay. I think we will have a sound money in the future, and that will solve a lot of these problems.
Yeah, I think Bitcoin fixes this.
Yeah,
one of my favorite little memes there.
Your little catchphrase.
Yeah.
But I think you're right.
Yeah, because if Bitcoin offers us a sound money alternative to kind of the legacy systems that we have. It's something that you can buy Bitcoin, and over a long time period, you can expect it to grow or to appreciate in value. And just over time, as it starts to monetize, as people start demanding it in payment as payment because they realize that it's appreciating in value, especially against the dollar. Just on it by itself, it's appreciating in value, but against the dollar, it's especially appreciating in value.
Mm-hmm.
And once it really monetizes fully, because I don't really think that the price we're at now is what a monetized
No.
Bitcoin would look like. But even once it monetizes, it's still going to appreciate in value because of the hardness of it. Because you can't add more. Once the 21 million Bitcoin are mined, you can't add any more. And so as technology improves, as we get better producing things, the cost of living, the cost of production is going to decrease. And so the purchasing power of your money is going to increase. And so you're going to have a money that allows you to just kind of hold it or hoard it, whatever term you're going to use, and you're going to be able to maintain your wealth and also increase your wealth because the purchasing power is going to keep
Which,
going up because you're going to
right.
have
Which
more things available to buy for the same amount of total money supply.
Right. And it would allow us potentially to work fewer hours in the future if you save your money as prices decrease, and you're essentially getting wealthier as you hold your money. I think it would make a much better standard of living.
Yeah, people love to throw around those kind of cliches and slogans of, "Hey, you like your weekend? Thank the union for it." And it's like, no, the unions did not bring you the weekend. It's the increase in production
Mm-hmm.
is what brought the weekend to you. And I've seen an article or two or a tweet or two here and there. It's like, oh, they're talking about the 4-day work week, but we still don't have it. What's the problem? Well,
Problem
it's
is inflation.
yeah, is that we still need to work these hours just to maintain our standards of living. Like, why would we keep working? Why would we work all these hours if we didn't have to? And some people might. I mean, some people like what they're
Sure, some
doing,
people love
or
to work and enjoy it, and
yep, more power to
other
those
people
people.
hate their job and don't want to do it and look for a way out.
Hmm. Yeah, we would never, if we had a hard money, there would be no debate about the minimum wage because you could maintain your wage across your entire career, never get a raise. But as time continues to move on, your quality of life would be increasing because as the economy grows, so does your purchasing power
Mm-hmm.
increase. And so you wouldn't be getting like a nominal wage increase, but your standard of living would be going up. So, just to keep up with yeah, if you made $10 an hour when you started your career and finished making $10 an hour, like,
You'd be earning more money
yes.
or more purchasing power.
So people wouldn't be complaining, "Oh, I haven't gotten a raise in, however long I've been working, and we need to raise the minimum wage because, stuff is so expensive and everything." It would it would make a lot of these problems that we have just moot points that would never even need to be addressed.
Right.
But when you have such an economy the way it is, it creates all these problems, and these problems just like, I don't want to say trickle down because, but they do kind of like trickle throughout and just kind of spread like this nasty virus and have all these secondary effects that
Mm-hmm.
people like minimum wage stuff, that they end up trying to treat these symptoms of the problem instead of actually the root cause. Whereas if you fix the money system, you go from a soft money to a hard money, then a lot of these these other problems, these symptoms just go away.
Which we won't. There's a lot of powerful people who have an interest in keeping that system going.
Mm-hmm.
But like you say, good luck.
Yeah, and that's why you don't want to play by the rules, and that's why Bitcoin gives you a good opportunity to get out of that, because Bitcoin's very difficult to stop. It's very difficult to confiscate the money that people have. No individual can. I mean, the idea of trying to stop the network or to beat it back is just so difficult. The beautiful thing about Bitcoin is it's so much more profitable to play by the rules than it is to try to break the rules and cheat. And so these people, even the people you just mentioned, who are the ones who are controlling things, they have motivations. They're out to make money too. So, maybe some of the real top dogs would be interested in fighting Bitcoin tooth and nail. So they don't lose the power that they have. But I think a lot of them would still recognize that they could also make a lot of money with Bitcoin. But they would have to, the money they make with Bitcoin would be in a way that would be fair and productive for everyone.
Right.
So it turns bad, nasty, selfish people into good actors, because they're adding something positive to the world by playing by the rules of Bitcoin. So, yeah, I think we do. It's frustrating right now to talk about the system we're in and how we're constantly losing value, and we see these things that are maybe traps for people to put dumb money into and actually hurt themselves, and just the idea that they're just kind of doomed.
Yeah,
and have to use these systems, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is something,
and it's exciting.
Yep.
And hopefully this moves as quick as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I hope no one thought that I was calling them stupid for being involved in the legacy system, because I still have money tied up there. So.
I think you're crazy not to, because it's kind of the world we live in, but I think you're crazier to not be in Bitcoin.
Yeah, and I also don't recommend blindly going into Bitcoin either.
Do you know a website where someone could go to learn a bit about it?
Yeah, that would be great if there. Oh wait, there is. It's called 10hoursofbitcoin.com, and that's in the show notes page. That is going to be in the podcast format very soon, so be on the lookout for that. It is, if you're interested in Bitcoin, because I talk about it a lot. A lot of people in libertarian circles talk about it a lot. It could be a little complicated. It could be a little bit, what's it called?
It's intimidating. It's confusing. Yeah. People don't like to ask questions. They feel they should know it. Whatever.
But if you're willing to invest 10 hours of your time, which really in the grand scheme of things to learn something like Bitcoin isn't that much time, you can, I think using that website, 10hoursofbitcoin.com, can really set you up to have a pretty strong understanding and start making good decisions about that stuff. And also there's going to be other kind of content coming out soon. I don't want to speak for the person that's going to be putting it out, but should be
tuned to the Rollo and Slappy Show.
Yes, because we'll be talking about it when it's out there. So if you had nothing else, Slappy, we'll go into the free market success story.
Yeah, well, you got something for the free market success story?
Yeah, kind of a funny one. So I have two older brothers. We're both, we're all a couple of years apart. So growing up, especially when I was younger, when we would get gifts, a lot of times we got the same thing because we're, boys, with similar interests, since we're all brothers. Yeah. And, but a lot of times, especially when I was kind of younger, in the 3 to 6 year old age, maybe, my brothers, since they were older and more mature and able to handle certain things, they would get a certain gift that was cool, but I would get the kind of the stupid little kid crappy version of it, because I wasn't really capable yet of handling whatever the real thing is.
Mm-hmm.
But that would always annoy me because I knew I could perceive of it. It wasn't the same thing. It didn't look as cool, and I knew. And of course, they let me know that I had the baby version or whatever they had, and so it bugged me. I didn't like it, and then it would always get promised like, oh, when you're older, you'll get the normal thing, and I normally never did. So
Still has that little
Yeah,
kid
it's just-
keyboard.
yeah. I still have the when I go play baseball, I still have that big pink Flintstone looking bat
Yeah,
I show up with.
Still got the Velcro on the inside of your glove.
Yeah. But I've got 3 nephews that are similarly aged to my brothers and I, and so I took that knowledge of being the third youngest brother and was able to apply that to buying Christmas and birthday presents and stuff for my nephews now. So I decided that I was not going to put my nephew through, the terrible hardship I had to. It sounds terrible, like, oh, you're getting gifts and you're so upset by the someone giving you presents for free.
Yeah, you are a horrible person.
Yeah, but I remember I have that information as I'm making these decisions in the marketplace and buying gifts. So I make sure that I'm not giving my youngest nephew kind of the stupid crappy version and just being like, oh, well, you'll when you're older. And it unfortunately it drives the my 2 nephews that are older crazy because he's it's his too, so he wants to play and be involved, but he doesn't know what he's doing, so he just kind of mucks everything up. But I think in the long run he'll grow into it. I'm gonna take the approach of you'll get it instead of you'll get it when you're older, as you'll grow into it.
There you go.
So that's my stretch of free market story. But I think it actually is kind of useful to talk about because I am using information that I learned from past experiences to make a better decision, or at least what I think is a better decision in the future, or not in the future, but in the present now. And that's what people do. That's what entrepreneurs do. They learn information and try to apply it in different situations to make the world a little bit better of a place. So hopefully my nephews' lives are a little bit better because I made these decisions. Yeah, because of me. But it's fun. Yeah, so that's the that was your Christmas, by the way. So that was a very kind of a Christmassy thing.
Yeah, a couple days off was good. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Went and saw this guy. This dude has this. Took my kids. He's been collecting these Lionel trains.
Oh, nice.
Since the 50s. I mean, I can't even describe. I know nothing about these trains. I don't own any. Never collected them. This was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. This display. I couldn't even put it in words. He had amusement park, a roller coaster, everything worked. The roller coaster had like, a kind of a band that pulled it up and let gravity take it the rest of the way, and like an actual roller coaster. Every single house, every fire engine, the cars, they all lit up. They all did things. Meanwhile, he has like 17 trains going in and out. He had a subway system that was modeled. The subway station, you look under the platform through a window, and it looked like Jefferson Station down in Philly. It was insane, and the kids thought it was unbelievable. So that was really cool.
There's a place I went when I was a kid. I don't know. I don't know if it was the Great American Roadshow or something. I forgot what it was called, but it was this enormous. I think it was somewhere in Lancaster County. But this enormous train layout, like a warehouse size, and it was just like all different kind of like it had the country, the mountains, like cities, towns, just incredible. I'll have to if your kids are into that, I'll have to let you know where it is because it's so
I don't
neat.
know. Yeah, I don't know how you couldn't think this. Like no matter what age you are, this was when you see someone doing something they love and
Hmm.
have a collection like this guy had. I don't know how you could not be impressed. It was insane. And if any of you guys out there are into trains, Lionel trains, this guy's he's stopping this display. Just because he's getting old and his wife isn't doing well and she helps him and he's selling the entire thing.
Oh
I
wow.
can't even imagine what that's valued at. I'm guessing he'd say make me an offer, but if you are interested, shoot me a DM on Twitter and I can get you in touch with the guy. Um, and I can send you pictures that I took. I mean, it is insane. Um, so anyway, throwing that out there.
Yeah, it's pretty. Oh yeah, I'm sure he's sitting on a. So I'm sure he takes good care of it.
Everything
So
still works. He's got. I mean, it was impressive. So that was the highlight of my Christmas, I guess. It's going to see this guy's display.
nice. Yeah, I have a couple of. I mean, we were into trains growing up. My dad's into has a lot of Lionel stuff. But I didn't know until I moved out. My dad was giving me stuff that was mine, but when each of us were born, he bought us like different Lionel sets, and so we have like, well, I have stuff from the late '80s that's never even opened
Oh, very cool.
from Lionel stuff. We were into my brothers and I guess because it looked realer to us, but we were into the HO scale. So I got a good amount of HO trains.
Right on. I
Yeah,
don't even
I've
know
got
what
to
that
put a.
is, but
That's a smaller scale. It's the one to 87th scale,
okay.
so it's a little bit smaller, or I guess decent size smaller. But we liked it as little kids. We didn't like the 3 tracks for the Lionels.
Well, if you have any interest in seeing this, I recommend you go out to this guy's place before February.
Nice. Yeah, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it was cool.
Nice. All right, so the show notes page for this episode is mcflugel.com/176. Find a link to libertymugs.com and also 10hoursofbitcoin.com, where you can learn about Bitcoin and how we can get out of the mess of the situation that we are in right now. Actually, a lot of the stuff that we were talking about, I gleaned from the course I took originally that turned into 10hoursofbitcoin.com. So I think it's some interesting information
Some good
that I
stuff.
think I think that you'll get a lot out of it. Or just to appreciate the have a better appreciation for understanding the problems that we face with a lot of these legacy systems and the bad money that we have. So, all right. Next time we will talk to you, we will be in the 2020s, not the 20 teens. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next decade.
Peace.